I'm like in kind of like a happy mood today. I don't know what's going on with me. And I'm wearing my new shirt. I got this shirt yesterday. I love it. I love it. I'll link it down below. But I have a comparison video for you today. I'm going to be comparing two of my Christian Louboutin shoes. You guys have asked for this video, and I was really excited to put it together because I've talked a lot about these shoes. So a lot of the information that you're going to hear, you've heard before, like snippets here and there, but it's kind of nice to have a dedicated video to go to instead of having to try to search for a little bit of information. So I have a few things I want to go over. First, if you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get started. So the first two pairs are the pairs of shoes that I am going to be comparing are my original Christian Louboutin Pigalle 100s, and then my Pigalle Follies, also in the 100s. So first I want to do a really quick overview of each pair, and then I'll kind of go into some different things. So first, here are the original Pigalles. I do have them in the nude patent leather. I just love this shoe. It's such a beautiful shoe. This was actually my first pair of Christian Louboutin shoes, and it kind of created the monster that now exists in me, and I'm just like obsessed with Christian Louboutin shoes. And they are my favorite Christian Louboutin shoes. I love them. I wear those the most by far. And then here are the Pigalle Follies in the size 100. Both of mine, like I said, are the size 100. I highly recommend the 100. The 120 are rough. I do have one pair of Socate 120s, and those are very difficult to walk in. Okay, so the first thing that I really want to go over is the availability of these shoes. People tell me quite often that like if they go to Saks, they go to Neiman's, Nordstrom's, whatever, that they tell them that the Pigalle Follies have taken over for the original Pigalles, and the original Pigalles are no longer available. And that is not the case. The original Pigalles are available. You just have to go directly to Christian Louboutin for them. So they are available on their website, and they are available in their actual stores. Now, I know there's not very many Christian Louboutin stores out there. Houston did just recently get one in the Galleria. Every single time I've gone to the Houston Galleria Christian Louboutin store, they have had both styles. They have had original Pigalles and Pigalle Follies. And so I know that they are available. I know that they're still manufactured and available. They're just not so much available at Saks and Neiman's and Nordstrom's and places like that. When you go to places like that, you are most likely going to be finding the Pigalle Follies. Now, my original Pigalles were purchased from Nordstrom's, so I know that it's possible, but I will say this. I purchased these over 2 years ago. I got these for my birthday over 2 years ago, and I have not seen this pair of shoes in a Christian Louboutin, in a Nordstrom's or Neiman's or Saks. I have not seen an original Pigalle shoe at one of those stores since then. Like, I think I just got really lucky, and I think it's really rare. So if you are looking for the original Pigalle by the end of this video, just go straight to Louboutin, go to the store. I have heard, I'm not 100% sure, I don't work for Louboutin, and I've never done this, but I have heard that they do offer phone orders. So if you wanted to place an order through a store over the phone, you could do that. And then they would ship it to you. I do believe there is shipping involved with that. But anyways, okay, so first I want to go into the differences of the two different styles. They are similar, kind of, but not really. Honestly, they really are a completely different shoe. The first thing that I noticed right off the bat was the size of the heel. Now, if you just, here, I'll go ahead and do them this way. So if you look at the size of the heel, you can look at how much thinner the Pigalle Folly heel is over the original Pigalle heel. Also, look at the way, look at how really nice and petite this is right here, really streamlined, and look at the original Pigalle. It's a little bit chunkier, right? It's a little bit chunkier. Just the whole heel in general is a little bit chunkier. You can see how much less space is here, how much more space is here. It's just a chunkier heel. If you look at the profile this way, you can definitely see how much thicker the original Pigalle heel is over the Pigalle Folly. So definitely a difference in the size of the heel. The next big physical difference is the amount of toe cleavage. I'm going to try to line them up so that you can see the amount of toe cleavage. But yes, you can see how much more toe cleavage that you are going to get with the Pigalle Follies over the original Pigalles. At first, I will be completely honest, I was a little bit turned off by the amount of toe cleavage on the Pigalle Follies. I mean, it is like your whole toe, like pretty much out, like everything, you can see it all. I've had several people comment on my like Instagram photos and stuff that they did not like the amount of toe cleavage that this gave. And then I've had some people say that they thought this was so much sexier. So the toe cleavage part is definitely kind of like personal opinion based. So I think it's one of those things that you really need to try out. And see what you prefer. It grew on me. At first I was really turned off by it. Over time of just trying the shoe on over and over and over, I did start to like it. It is still something that is noticeable, and I still kind of look at it and it kind of gives me a little bit of a chuckle, but there is a lot of toe cleavage. Whereas I personally think that the Pigalle Originals is the perfect amount of toe cleavage. It's not something that I feel like is unflattering to me. And with that said, I have kind of short stubby toes, which might be why the Pigalle Folly sometimes makes my toes look a little funny. But those are the two biggest differences that people notice right away. Where people don't see the difference, and I noticed right away, was the angle of the actual heel. If you look at the angle in which your foot would be arched, look at that. It's pretty, in this shoe, it's pretty much a straight angle, right? It's pretty straight, right? Like this, like it's like a ramp. Now, if you look at the angle of this shoe, it's more curved. You see that, how it's more curved? It dips down much more steep. You're more straight up and down than angled. Do you see that? So there is definitely a big difference in the way that your foot sits in either shoe, which is huge for how comfortable it is. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. So I would say the differences are the skinnier heel, the more of an arched here, and then the toe cleavage for sure. Okay, so let's go into the sizing. Now, in regards to sizing, I did get this in a 37. Originally, my husband purchased these in a 36.5, which is my true to size. So I did go up half a size in these in patent. I tried on the 36.5 and my toes were so scrunched that they were like crimping up, like they were so squished that they were crimping up, and I just couldn't do it. So I went back. I was very fortunate that they had them in a 37, and I was able to get them in a 37, and the 37 fits like a glove. Now, I highly recommend when you get these shoes, you want them to fit really, really snug. You want them to fit like a super tight hug, but not so tight that you're like, that you can't breathe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you want them to fit really, really tight and firm, but not so tight that you're getting the scrunching with the toes. That's how you really want them to fit, because they stretch out so much. You can see, well, and obviously you're not seeing it before, but you can kind of see how much they've stretched out right here, and then also right here. Do you see that kind of like that bulging of it? That is the shoe basically creating the shape of my actual foot. Now, this is over 2 years of use. Obviously not every day, but I do reach for these the most by far. These are my most used shoes, high heels by far. And so they have definitely stretched out a ton. So with that said, even though these are half a size bigger, with that said, my foot has sunk in, over the longer that I've had them, my foot has sunk in deeper and deeper and deeper over the last 2 years. And so now at this point, having them two years later, you are gonna see that my heel does come off the back just a tad. Not so much that I get heel slippage every single time I walk. I will say in like an entire day of wearing this, let's say an 8-hour day, my heel may slip out once, maybe twice in that entire day. But I will say this, all that I am going to do to fix the problem is I'm gonna put one of those flower petal insoles right here just to create a little bit of extra space in that area, and it is going to eliminate that slippage. So I'm really not that worried about that. Here's my point in saying all this. You do not wanna get a shoe that just fits you nicely. If it fits you too loosely, in 2 years, when it does stretch out as much as mine has, you're going to have a ton of heel slippage, and it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to overcompensate by gripping your toes, and they're going to be kind of uncomfortable, so don't do it. You want these to be tight. You want them to start out tight because they stretch out so much. So yes, I got these in a 37. Now these, when I ordered these online. I ordered them both in a 37 because I did a little research and I had read that they fit very similarly in size. So I ordered them in a 37 since that's what I had, but I also ordered them in a 36 and a half. The reason why I ordered them in a 36 and a half is because I had also done some research about the difference in the arch. Well, when you have a much steeper heel ramp area, your foot is going to slide a lot. It's going to slide down a lot more, creating a little bit more gap in the back. And so I wanted to try both the 37 and a 36 and a half just to make sure that I didn't have any toe slippage or heel slippage. And so when I got the 37s, I got the 37s in actually first, and immediately every single time I wore them, no matter if I tried them on in the morning or I tried them on the evening, which is another thing I highly recommend when you get shoes in the mail. Don't just instantly start wearing them if you think they look right. What I did is I usually keep my shoes in my closet for a couple of days. I have carpet in my closet, which works out perfectly. I will walk around my closet at different times of the day, definitely in the morning and definitely in the evening after you've been walking all day. I have really bad circulation, so my feet swell up all the time. And then of course, being in Texas and the hot weather, when you're out and about and your feet just get hot, my feet swell up really bad as well. So it's really important for me to make sure that I try my shoes on in the morning and as well as in the evening at the end of a day. And so I would keep them in my closet. I would walk around every day or so, once or twice a day, just to try them on. And so the 37s, every single time I walked, my heel came out. Every step the heel came out. So those had to go back. So I shipped those back. A couple days later, the 36 and a halves did come in, and I tried them on for a couple of days, and I was happy with the fit. I did figure out that these did work out good for me, and I've been happy with the fit. I would say that these definitely fit. The way that they even sit on your foot is completely different. They feel less secure. You've got a lot more support happening here. You've got a lot more holding your foot in, and so you feel a lot more secure than when you're in this shoe. Because you've got a lot of toe cleavage happening, it does feel a little bit funny at first because it almost looks like your toes are gonna pop out. They don't, of course, but that's almost how it feels like it. So I ended up actually keeping these in a 36 and a half, which is my true to size. Now, with that said, obviously not everybody is going to be true to size in this foot and in this style and half a size up in this style. I think it definitely depends on your shoe or your foot and the way you walk and the width of your foot, the length of your toes. There's so many things that it's going to depend on. I always recommend, just like I did, sizing the size you think and then maybe up or down based on reviews and things like that. So for this one, I would say that you would either be the same size as the original Pigalles or half a size down and whatever your original Pigalle size is for the Pigalle Follies in the satin. Now, that's another thing that's kind of crazy about Christian Louboutin shoes. Like, I could literally go buy this exact shoe in a patent leather, and I'm gonna probably be a half a size up because of the stiffness of the patent leather. Your size definitely changes, not only with the style of shoe, but it also changes with the material in which the shoe is made. So something to be kind of aware of. You're not necessarily always going to be the same size. So yes, as far as sizing, make sure you get something that's really snug, and like I said, like a really firm hug. You don't want something that's even a little bit loose because it's just going to stretch over time. And just the way these shoes are made, there's something about the way these shoes are made. They stretch out a lot, but when they stretch out a lot, you're going to get a lot of heel slippage, and that's just not comfortable. It just isn't. The next thing that I want to go into is the comfort. I get a lot of questions of, are these shoes comfortable? So I'm going to start out with the original Pigalles. So like I said, these were my very first Christian Louboutin shoes, and I was obsessed. So I had read a ton of reviews and kind of different, everywhere on different websites and stuff like that, talking about how uncomfortable Christian Louboutin shoes were. And after I purchased these, I was like, what are people talking about? Because these are like amazing. These are so comfortable. I can be in these all day long and my feet do not start to hurt until about hour 5, 6, depending on how much walking I'm doing. But definitely you can get 4 hours of use out of these with very minimal discomfort. I mean, obviously there's still a heel, so you have to be okay with heels to begin with. But even if you're not okay with heels, even if heels are really difficult for you to walk in, I would say you're still gonna probably get an hour or two of decent wear out of these before they start to be majorly uncomfortable, because they are just so comfortable. Like I've said before, there's a lot of support around the toe area, around this area. The arch is, even though it's a 4-inch heel, the arch is very forgiving. It's not so steep. It's a very forgiving arch. And then you've got, even though it's a stiletto, it's not a super thin heel. So you've got a lot of this support right here, with even just this part here supporting the heel of your foot. So even though this is a 4-inch heel, I do think that they really created this heel with some comfort in mind, and not a lot of designers do that. Now, I don't know if that's what he had in mind when he was making this shoe, but it's surprisingly a very comfortable shoe. Now, when you go into this shoe, kind of completely different. You've got a much thinner heel. You've got a much less support in this area holding up basically your entire foot. You've got a much steeper slope here. It's much more curvature. You can see it just dips down very steeply. Look at how steep that is versus look at how steep this one is. It's just not, it's not as, see how much, this is more curved, and then this is more like, look at how it almost looks like straight down right there, like right there. Look at that. So there's definitely a steeper heel here for your foot. And then you have very minimal coverage in the toe area. So you've got this kind of pushing your foot up, the steepness pushing, like putting your foot down, and then you have very minimal coverage here, holding everything from all the other things that are creating, you know, the heel basically. So as far as comfort, this one isn't near as comfortable as these. Now, with that said, in this particular material, in the satin, I would say that it is very forgiving and it is a pretty comfortable shoe. If I were to say that this was a 10 as far as comfort, I'm not saying that it is. As far as a heel, I would probably give it like a 9.5. It's really comfortable. But let's just say that this is a 10 just for sake of, you know, the most comfortable that we're talking about. If this were a 10, I would say this is an 8 starting out, right? So I would say this one is still really comfortable, but not nearly as comfortable as this. Okay, let's say that it started out at a 10. Let's say by the end of the day, let's say by the end of 6 hours, we might be down to a 5 or a 6, right? Whereas this one, it started out at an 8, and it's going to definitely be somewhere down at like a 3 or a 4 by 6 hours. You are going to see a lot more strain in the arch. It's just going to feel less comfortable by the end of the day. I think you could for sure get 4 hours of comfort out of these. This is more like 1 or 2 hours out of comfort before you're going to start to feel some a little bit more pain in regards to the arch of your foot and things like that. Now, I know I get a lot of people that ask me which ones that I prefer. And it depends on what you mean by prefer. I get a lot of questions like, what's your favorite bag? What's this? And it just really depends, because my favorite, my most beautiful bag in my eyes might not be the one I reach for the most. And so as far as comfort and which one I would recommend for somebody that's looking for a shoe for work or for longer days, and a lot of versatility that you could wear it to work and it's like works for work, but you could also wear it for girls' night out. You can wear it for dates and things like that. I highly recommend this one. This one it's just so comfortable, but it's also a good mix of comfort and sexy. And as far as physicality, I do think that this one is a sexier shoe. I just love the way that this one looks on the foot. In comparison to this one. I still think this one is sexy, but this one is just a little bit sexier. So if you were looking for, like I said, something that you can wear to work, to the office, to school meetings, you know, PTA, whatever, things like that, but you also want something that you can wear on like date nights and things like that, and you want to just be cute, I would recommend these. If you're strictly looking for something that is like date night, girls' night out, things like that, 2, 3, 4 hour shoes, I would go for these. These, can I wear them in a full 6, 8 hour day? Yes, but my feet are hurting. Whereas these, I'm definitely uncomfortable, but I'm not like, like literally trying to walk on my tiptoes or whatnot, like just from in pain. Whereas these do start to hurt quite a bit by the end of the day. So I love them both, but for different reasons. I still wear them both to work, but I'm just aware of, the discomfort that I'm gonna have in regards to them. So I hope that that answers your questions. I will link some different options below. But again, make sure that you're gonna go directly to Christian Louboutin for these, and then these you can pretty much readily find available. There are way more color options, fabric options in the Follies versions than there are the original Pigalles. These are a lot harder to get. Like, they definitely have them in the nude, they definitely have them in black, and every once in a while they'll have other styles, but usually it's just those two. And these, you have a plethora of colors and leathers and different, just wide variety for sure. But hopefully that answered your questions. Hopefully I kind of went over everything that you guys wanted me to talk about. If I missed anything at all, definitely comment down below and I will respond. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.